Episode 6 of Creature Commandos was just released, and all eyes are on one particular moment. So make sure to stick around as I dive into everything that happened in Episode 6, as Gunn has to either be extremely confident, or this is the most poorly timed episode of Creature Commandos yet. Creature Commandos continues on with this flashbacks format, and this week's star is Dr. Phosphorus. Focusing on him, I did like his story. I am a sucker for the hindsight is 2020 sort of storyline where even if you have the noblest intentions, you don't always know how things are going to play out. And I really enjoyed that. I like seeing it play out here as it was really heartbreaking, and I like seeing the development with it. And I think it was really fun how they changed Dr. Phosphorus's human look before the accident to look more like the actor Alan Tudyk instead of how he is in the comics. And I think that was a great way to give the actor a personal connection, or at least make it feel like you're watching the actor. I really did enjoy that. And with the flashback sequence, I did enjoy how the focus was more so on present day than the flashback sequences, very similar to the Weasel episode that Edward and I both enjoyed. But here it kind of seems like they included the same scene twice. And I don't get why. You see the scene first towards the beginning of the episode, and then you see it again later. And after seeing it later, it just makes the first scene seem like an odd choice to have there. I don't know if it was by accident or by design. Likely it's by design. It'd be hard to include an extra scene on accident, but it didn't need to be repeated and didn't kind of leave you questioning what was happening. And I don't think that extra scene really helped, because when you saw it at the end, it flowed better, had good tension. There was no questions when you saw it first, like what happened here. So I don't know why they in particularly did that. And with the flashback sequence, I gotta like how Dr. Phosphorus had a pimp outfit, which was really funny. And before I get into the episode's most shocking scene, what did you think about episode 7 of Creature Commandos, and who has your favorite character been so far? I know Weasel has won Edward and myself over, but I really do like Dr. Phosphorus just because of Alan Tudyk. I am such a huge fan of his, and I just, whenever he's on screen, even in other projects, I just smile. And then the most surprising part about the flashback story is that there are quite a few Batman connections that we just didn't expect. As you guys probably know, Dr. Phosphorus is a Batman villain. One thing they did keep from the comics is the Rupert Thorne connection. However, in this case, they did change it a little bit, and I think it's a little interesting with that because Rupert Thorne is a big gangster in Batman mythos, and he comes a little bit later down the road after the Falcones and Maronis. He is introduced after a lot of the Batman rogues have been introduced, and that's how he fits in particular, like one scene that comes to mind is he's one of the people bidding on Batman's secret identity with Hugo Strange. And how they did his story here was not surprising, but a bit interesting considering this is a fully fleshed introduced Batman, and giving him the ending that we got seemed to be they wasted potential, but I feel like with all the Batman characters out there and all the Batman supervillains, we can lose one or two and it won't be that big of an issue. But perhaps the biggest connection to Batman that we got in this episode is that we saw Batman himself. And I don't know if it's just bad timing or if Gunn is just extremely confident. And yes, I know these episodes were approved long before the events of last week, but you have to admit the coincidence is pretty funny. And very briefly, for those who don't know about what's been going on at DC recently, the Batman 2 and Batman Brave and the Bold were both delayed on the same day, and there have been some tensions and, I guess, communication issues between James Gunn and some of his directors, as well as that the big ticket item of Robert Pattinson is going to be DCU's main Batman moving forward. And we do a whole video covering it, as there's a lot more to go into, so make sure to go check that out. But once I saw Batman in this episode, I couldn't help but just laugh to myself because I just think the coincidence is just way too good. And in the episode, it did make a lot of sense for Batman to be there and seeing him up there, and that was handled much better than the Penguin show, where we actually saw Batman when dealing with a Batman villain instead of just having the Penguin run about. But for all intents and purposes, that is Robert Pattinson up there. And with him becoming the new DCU Batman and him being an already established Batman and metahumans being established in this universe, and that's been driven home several times, including in this episode. Let's not get our hopes up for the merger. It is going to be incredibly sloppy at best. Maybe they just forget the Batman happened and keep it Elseworlds and have him playing two separate iterations of the Batman, but don't get your hopes up with the merger being nice and shiny because it's going to be messy. And sadly, that's just probably the best how we're going to get it, just because late game change, after some things have already been written for both iterations of Batman and then putting it into one, things are going to fall apart. And this could just be my eyes playing tricks on me, or perhaps my eyes are just seeing what they want to see. I have looked at the image several times and there's absolutely zero evidence of this. But to me, the costume that we saw of the Batman seemed to be more of the blue and gray design, and I'm really hopeful for that. Again, there is no evidence. It's kind of just me hoping and playing tricks on myself, but hey, a guy can hope. And then back to present day, this part of the episode felt more like filler. Everything that we got in this episode with these characters and the character development are things that we've already known about these characters, and I feel like it wasn't really developed. And it kind of made it hard to enjoy, as there's only one episode left after this, and there's so much to do, so it kind of felt a lot like wasted time. As I said, I'm grateful that the flashbacks were short, but it feels like there's just a lot of time wasted in this episode. I mean, they just showed us a lot of things that we already know. We know the Bride has a soft spot, even though she plays as this hard ass. We've known that. We know that Weasel wants to live with humans rather than with animals. These are known things. It just felt like wasted time. There's only one episode left, and we still have a long list of things that need to be checked off. Next week is the last episode, and I do have low hopes, but I do expect it to somehow tie into Superman somehow, as that's what we've been told from day one. But right now, I don't really see it. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please go check out our Superman trailer review, as while this show isn't the best for us, we absolutely love James Gunn's Superman trailer, and he started to win us over with DC with that. Thank you guys so much for watching.